I wasn't looking for trouble. I was looking for tax records. Saturday afternoon, Lana was out with her friends. Brunch and vintage shops, her usual escape. I figured I'd make myself useful and finally organize the disaster that was our storage closet. That dusty black hole between the laundry room and the guest bathroom, full of forgotten cables, broken umbrellas, and IKEA grief. About an hour in, after a battle with a toppled tower of shoeboxes, I found it. A leather-bound notebook. Old, soft to the touch, like something you'd buy in a Paris boutique if you were trying to impress someone who read poetry in cafes. No title, no lock, no name. I assumed it was Lana's. The vibe was very her, minimalistic, aesthetic, maybe filled with sketches or quotes from books I pretended to know. I opened it. Not poetry, it was organized. At the top of the page was a neat table, columns, labeled in a precise, almost sterile handwriting. Name, occupation, time spent together in bed, rating. Overall impression repeat? I blinked. My first thought? Maybe this was a joke, a character list for some creative project, a forgotten script. But then I saw the names, real names, familiar names. I turned the pages, each one a new man, a new evaluation. There were scores, numbers from 1 to 10, some with stars and exclamation points, some with little hearts drawn beside them, some brutally short, boring, talks too much. One read, hot, terrible kisser, worth it anyway. Another, we did it in their boss's office, he cried afterward, would not repeat. My throat went dry. I flipped to the last page. There I was, Thomas accountant, 7 years, ongoing. In bed 6:10, overall, reliable, but predictable. Like Monday lunch. Repeat? Already did. Not sure why. I sat there on the cold tile floor, staring at those words like they were in another language. Reliable, predictable. Monday lunch. No rage, no tears, just a weight settling in my chest, like finding out your favorite song was written about someone else. And the worst part? She didn't even hide it. It wasn't locked. It wasn't buried. It was just there, waiting. I don't know how long I sat there. Time did that weird thing it does when your world tips sideways, stretching and folding in on itself. I must have reread that page 5, maybe 6 times. Each time hoping the words would shift, the meaning would change, that somehow Monday lunch was a compliment in some twisted metaphor I just didn't get. But no, it was exactly what it looked like, a performance review, and I was the mediocre middle manager. Eventually, I flipped back through the journal, slowly this time, studying it like it was evidence, because suddenly, it felt like it was. The names kept popping up. Ethan, neighbor, Marcus, photographer, Ben, wedding DJ, and my stomach sank with each one. I knew these people. Hell, some of them had been in our house, smiled at me, drank my whiskey. One of them borrowed my drill. Dates were scribbled beside the entries, some from before our marriage, but a lot after. Like the week I went on that business trip to Boston, she had a note. Tyler, fitness trainer, insanely fit, had to fake a cramp to stop. I remember calling her that night. She said she missed me. I heard her pour a glass of wine and yawn. Nothing exciting today, she'd said. Lies, smooth, practiced lies. I kept flipping. My hands were cold, my chest hot. One entry made me stop completely. Derek, our couples therapist, should have known better, but the taboo made it fun. Fun. I shut the notebook, and I just sat there, notebook in my lap, hands limp at my sides, like I was holding a piece of radioactive truth that I hadn't yet processed. My wife, the woman who tucked her head into my chest at night, who texted me kiss emojis when I worked late, was out here drafting Yelp reviews of men like they were side dishes at a tapas bar. I should have been furious, should have thrown the damn thing at a wall, screamed, something. But instead, I just stood up, walked to the printer, made copies. Then I put the original back exactly where I found it. Why? Because something inside me whispered, not yet. I didn't sleep that night. Lana came home around 9, smelling like white wine and expensive perfume. She kicked off her heels by the door and gave me that soft, practiced smile, the kind she used when she wanted to seem effortlessly affectionate. "Hey, babe," she said, walking over and pressing a kiss to my cheek. "What did you do today?" I forced a smile. "Clean the closet," I said, like I hadn't just unearthed a landmine under our marriage. She laughed lightly and leaned against the kitchen counter. Finally, that thing was giving me anxiety. I nodded, opened the fridge, pretended to look for something. Anything to keep my face turned away. She didn't notice, or didn't care. "Did you find my sketch pads?" she asked, pouring herself a glass of Chardonnay. "Just boxes, shoes, old wires." I kept my tone neutral. Not a flicker of guilt crossed her face. No tension, no hesitation. She changed the subject to something about a co-worker named Trevor and how he overshared during their brainstorming meeting. Like, "We get it, Trevor, your divorce is tragic, but maybe don't cry over the mood board." I nodded at the right beats, smiled when appropriate, but I wasn't really there. I was remembering pages, names, scores, 610, reliable but predictable. That line clung to my brain like gum on a shoe. The next day, I started my own journal. Digital, of course. I wasn't that poetic. Entry 1. Timeline cross-check. I pulled up my work calendar, cross-referenced dates she'd listed in the journal with when I had business trips, conferences, or late hours. It lined up a little too well. November 14th. I was in Chicago for a tax seminar. She had dinner with Michael, used to be my crush in college, finally happened. Wild tongue. December 3rd. I was home sick with the flu. She wrote, "Silent afternoon with Lenny, neighbor. Surprisingly intense. Might repeat." I paused there. Lenny. The same guy who always offered to shovel our driveway, who brought us banana bread last Christmas. My stomach turned. I opened our holiday card photos on my phone. There he was, smiling in the background at the block party. Lana beside me, holding my hand. Fake. How deep does this go? I started Googling names, social media, LinkedIn, Instagram. Entry 2, match profiles. Some of them were still active. I found one guy, Trevor, on a dating site. Same photo Lana once said looked like a guy who thinks gym selfies are a personality. Apparently she'd changed her mind. He had a review score of 8.5 in her book. Amazing shoulders, weak conversation, would definitely rebook. Rebook. Like she was talking about a massage. I snapped my laptop shut. That night I couldn't stop watching her. She was in the kitchen, making pasta, humming to herself. Hair tied up, loose tank top, glass of wine half full again. Everything about her looked normal, familiar. She caught me staring and smiled. "What?" "Just thinking," I said. "About?" I hesitated, then shrugged. "Us." She walked over, leaned on the table, peered into my eyes. "That good or bad?" she teased playfully. I studied her face, the tiny beauty mark near her left eye, the curve of her lip, the way she tilted her head just slightly when she was trying to charm me. All the things I used to adore. Now they felt rehearsed. "I was thinking we should do something different this weekend," I lied. She lit up. "Yes, maybe a spa day or a little getaway? I actually saw this cute place upstate we could drive to." I nodded. "Sounds great." She kissed me, quick and light, then went back to her wine, back to her pasta, like I wasn't slowly burning from the inside out. Later that night, I opened her notebook again, page after page of dishonesty, masquerading as self-expression. I scanned through the margins, the emojis, the underlines. One note caught my eye. Rules for the list. Honesty first, feelings second. Men aren't forever, but good memories can be. That did it. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to break down. I was going to document, because if Lana liked lists, then she'd love the one I was about to make. By the time the weekend came, I had read that damn journal from cover to cover, twice. I memorized the worst parts, let them settle in my gut like stones. I cataloged her preferences, her comments, her top 3 list. I even made a spreadsheet. Ironic, I know. Accountant's revenge, I guess. Just data. Cold, objective, unforgiving. And through it all, she kept acting like nothing was wrong. Saturday morning. She walked into the living room in one of my shirts, the one with the faded Red Sox logo she always stole after laundry. Her hair was messy from sleep, and she rubbed her eyes like a kid. "Mornin', babe," she said through a yawn. "Coffee?" "Sure," I replied. "Thanks." She walked barefoot into the kitchen. I heard the soft hum of the kettle, the click of a mug on the counter, and the clink of a spoon. A symphony of domestic peace. I watched her, watched the easy grace in her movements, the way she danced slightly to music in her head, swaying like the world was light and good. She brought me the coffee, kissed my temple, then sat across from me with her own cup. "We should plan something special," she said suddenly. "I feel like we've been a little routine lately." I nearly choked on my drink. "Routine?" I asked, trying not to laugh. "Yeah," she smiled. "Like, comfortable, stable. But maybe we need something fun? I was thinking, maybe Europe this fall?" She was serious. This woman, who wrote predictable, like Monday lunch, wanted to tour Europe with me, as if I was her favorite travel buddy, not the man she downgraded in a private ledger. I blinked, took a slow sip of coffee, swallowed rage. "Sounds lovely," I said. "Where exactly?" She started rambling about Italy and Spain, museums and wine. Her voice was light, excited, romantic. A woman in love, and it made me sick. That evening, she got dressed up just because. She wore a tight black dress with an open back, the one she hadn't worn since our anniversary 2 years ago. I remember that night. I booked the rooftop dinner, brought roses, gave her the silver bracelet she said she adored. Apparently, that same week, she slept with a bartender from her yoga studio. James, tattooed, fingers like magic, needed a detox juice the next day. I still had the receipt from that bracelet. "Don't you think I look good tonight?" she asked, spinning in front of the mirror. I looked up from my book. "You always look good," I said calmly. She smiled, walked over and sat in my lap, arms around my neck, lipstick just shy of my cheek. "You've been so sweet lately," she whispered. "I really love this version of you." "That version? You mean the version that knows who you are? The version keeping quiet while planning to burn your kingdom to the ground?" That night in bed, she curled into me. "You're warm," she mumbled. I ran a hand down her back. My voice came out colder than I meant it to. "Am I? Or just familiar?" She lifted her head. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing." I kissed her forehead. "Go to sleep." She stared at me a moment longer, but then laid her head down again. The next few days were a masterclass in performance. She made dinner. She laughed at my jokes. She even asked if I wanted to try couples yoga again. Yoga. The irony was almost poetic. I said yes to everything. Smiled, nodded, played along. But I wasn't in the relationship anymore. I was studying it. Studying her. Every word, every look, every little cue. It was all part of the act, and I was done being cast as the fool. So I made preparations. I scanned her journal again, cleaned up my financials, spoke to a lawyer, quietly, efficiently, no theatrics, because when it was time, I didn't want yelling. I wanted silence, and the sound of her world falling apart. It was a Thursday. Lana had just finished a Zoom call and walked into the kitchen, barefoot, humming to herself. I watched her from the dining room. She looked calm, radiant even, like a woman at peace in her little curated life. She opened the fridge. "You want steak tonight?" she called over her shoulder. "Or pasta? I could do that lemon one you like." I stood up. "No dinner," I said. She turned confused. "What? Why? I thought we could go out." Her eyes lit up, lips curling into a smile. "Ooh, fancy. What's the occasion?" "No occasion," I lied. "Just felt like treating my wife." She melted. God, you're being so romantic lately. I love this energy. Yeah, I bet you do. I made a reservation at a quiet little restaurant by the water. One of her favorites. White linen tablecloths, candles, the works. She wore emerald green, that dress that made strangers look twice. I wore a suit, tie. I even brought flowers. The whole thing looked like a celebration. It was, just not the kind she expected. We sat down, ordered wine. She talked. I listened. Her voice filled the air with empty updates. Friends, trends, the annoying intern who always types like she's angry at the keyboard. Then I reached into my coat. I know you like making lists, I said, setting a small black folder on the table between us. So I thought I'd make one too. Her smile faltered. She looked down at the folder, then back at me. What's this? She asked lightly, like she already knew but didn't want to know. I pushed it gently toward her. Go ahead, open it. She hesitated, then unlatched it. Inside, a cleanly printed replica of her journal. Every entry, every name, every rating, organized, labeled, indexed, her face drained of color. This is yours, I said. Well, technically it's a copy. The original's still safe. Don't worry. She stared at the pages, lips parting slowly. Then she snapped the folder shut. How dare you go through my private things? I tilted my head. You mean the unmarked leather notebook you left in a shared closet? She said nothing. I leaned in, my voice calm, cold, steady. I read every word, Lana, every entry, every little star, every emoji. I especially liked the part where you compared me to a Monday lunch. She swallowed, blinked rapidly. Thomas, you crossed every line when you decided to sleep with the man who was supposed to help us fix our marriage. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. While we were in sessions, while I was spilling my guts, trying to fix us, you were, what? Testing his stamina for your journal? Please, she whispered, panic setting in. Can we not do this here? No, I said, keeping my tone even. We're going to do it exactly here, publicly, at a place you love, over the wine you ordered, because I want you to remember how this night felt. She reached out, maybe to grab the folder, maybe my hand. I pulled back. You didn't just cheat, Lana. You documented it. Like I was some footnote in your little museum, a case study, a backup plan. Her eyes were glassy now. She looked around the restaurant, the candles, the couples, the quiet buzz of life continuing like nothing was wrong. Thomas, I made mistakes. No, you made decisions. I stood up, straightened my jacket, tossed a few bills on the table. You're not the only one who can keep records. She grabbed the folder, frantic. Please, don't show this to anyone. I leaned down, voice just above a whisper. Why not? It's art, right? Raw, honest, a creative expression of your personal journey. She flinched. Then I turned and walked away. No yelling, no scene, no dramatic farewell. Just quiet footsteps and the weight of a woman realizing that her journal had become evidence. I didn't go home that night. I walked along the waterfront until my legs ached, the cold breeze pushing through my shirt like it knew something had broken. Eventually, I checked into a quiet hotel, one of those chain places with beige walls and free breakfast, clean, empty, anonymous. I took off my tie, sat on the edge of the bed, and stared at the wall. My phone lit up. Lana, please come home. We can talk. I didn't mean for any of it to hurt you. It was just a phase. You invaded my privacy, Thomas. That journal was personal. I made mistakes, but you overreacted. There it was. The pivot. From guilt to defense. From apology to blame. I didn't answer. The next morning, I called a lawyer. It was quiet, businesslike. The man on the phone asked if there was infidelity. I laughed. Oh yeah, I said. And there's a rating system to prove it. He paused. A rating system? Long story, I told him. I went home 2 days later when I knew she'd be at work. I packed, just the essentials, left everything she ever gave me, watches, gifts, that damn bracelet from our anniversary, all in a neat little pile on the kitchen table. Beside it, I left a sealed envelope. Inside, a single sheet of paper. It read, "It wasn't the cheating that ended us. It was that you thought I wouldn't notice, that I wouldn't care, that I wouldn't matter." I signed it with my full name, like it was a resignation letter, which, in a way, it was. Over the next few weeks, she tried everything. Messages, emails, voicemails that started with tears and ended in accusations. "You left because you're weak. You never really listened to me. You weren't adventurous, I was suffocating. And then, you were the only one who was ever stable. You didn't deserve this. I know that now. Please, I messed up." The last message came 6 months later. A handwritten letter delivered to my new apartment. It smelled like her perfume. "You were the kindest man I ever knew, the safest place I ever had, and I destroyed it. I was looking for excitement, but all I found was emptiness. If I could go back, I would choose you again. Every time." I read it once, then folded it, and slid it into the back of a drawer I never open. I'm seeing someone now. Her name's Rachel. She laughs with her whole face. She doesn't keep journals about lovers or rate people like Yelp reviews. When she touches me, she's there. Not mentally comparing me to some ghost from her past. And you know what? I'm nobody's Monday lunch anymore. I'm exactly who I am. And finally with someone who's not keeping score. As for Lana, well, her list didn't help her much after that. Word got around, not because I exposed her, but because secrets rot from the inside. People notice things. An ex-colleague found her notebook in her car once and never looked at her the same. A neighbor, Lenny, stopped waving. She stayed in the house for a while, alone, quiet, the same walls, the same kitchen, but the warmth was gone. The curated life she'd built, candles, brunches, Instagram smiles, all started to look hollow, even to her. She tried dating again, new names, new experiments, but they didn't stay, because eventually, even the most exciting meal gets cold when the chef keeps comparing it to the last. The journal? I heard she burned it. Or maybe that's what she told people. Like it was some grand symbolic moment, cleansing fire and self-discovery. But that kind of story only works if you stop writing new pages.